This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Well, they weren't in Baum-Walker Stadium last night. They were on the road, and the Arkansas baseball team got a 1-0 victory. As we talked to Scott Tabor now. Scott, Hagen Smith tied your record last night, man. Career strikeouts at Arkansas, now tied for fourth. What was that?
You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I did? And it's not really a record tie when you're in fourth place. You're just somewhere in the pecking order, but I appreciate that.
What was it like watching that in real time?
You know, I'm going to have to say this, and it's going to kind of hurt my soul, but back when I played in those Southwest Conference, there's a nasty orange team that played just like we are right now. They weren't very good at offense. They were great at defense, and they were fantastic at pitching. And they won a lot of games, 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-1. And so I think we're getting to see some history made. I mean, I'm looking at stats right now, and I'm just amazed at the numbers this deep into the season. All the zeros up, and the zeros in the loss column is what's fantastic. There's two. Shame on the two pitchers that got the loss. They're going, come on, man, I'm a marked man. So it's fun to watch. I mean, and we're expecting excellence. Every pitcher that comes in, McEntire comes in, we don't go, oh, we're in the bullpen, we're going to get roped. It's just not there. Then Goeckle comes in at the end of the game, and my son and I, who pitches down at Henderson State, we're trying to call pitches. And the great thing was, we didn't get them all right. What would I throw right here? I'm doing this, and he goes, I'm doing this, and he throws a 97-mile-an-hour fastball just right by him. So it's fantastic to watch.
There was a sequence last night. I want to ask you about this before I let you and Ty go on. He fell behind 3-0. Throws a get-me-over fastball. It's 3-1. Then he threw a slider on a fastball count, buckled the guy a little bit, and then came back and just blew him away with a fastball. His demeanor on the mound, whether it's 1-2, 3-1, whatever pitch he's got to make for that count, he seems to be able to make.
Well, there's a common misconception that the only pitch that most pitchers can throw for a strike is a fastball, and that's not true. Sometimes when you're having trouble placing your fastball or you're missing high, which is what he was doing in that sequence, he maybe get a little bit tired. I was kind of watching him not finish up his pitches and bring his hand through the zone and what have you. But you throw a changeup or you throw a slider, something to break that rhythm a little bit. And he's got confidence. He's pitched enough. He knows how to throw a slider for a strike. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a strike in that count. It's a hitter's count. And the guy's going, he's going to come in that fastball. He's going to come in that fastball. Oh, it's a slider. And now he's seen the slider at a 3-1 count, and he's thinking, I have no idea what he's going to throw him on 3-2. He just lit me up on 3-1. What's he going to do now? So anything he gets close is going to be you see a little hesitation in the swing when now he's thinking, is he going to throw me another slider? And that fastball adds about 5 miles an hour. So that's what you get when you can get your secondary pitches over.
Scott Tabor's with us here on the McCarty-Daniel Hotline. Scott, it wasn't just Hagen that had a really good performance last night. We saw Will McEntire once again come up big for this baseball team, also Gabe Goeckle. I want to ask you about the veteran first. It's such a change of pace when he comes in for Hagen or when he comes in for Brady. How confusing is that for hitters that have been getting stuff for the first 5 or 6 innings, and then it shifts so dramatically to what McEntire's doing?
Well, they're kind of in a dilemma. Especially the first guys that come up and face him, because they want to see a pitch. They just got through seeing, 95, 96, and the nasty slider and all this other stuff on the left side. So they got a right hand. You kind of want to look at one. But the book on McEntire is you don't let him get deep in the counts. You want to jump on him early. That's why you see a lot of first pitch hacks. He'll throw a lot of cutters and what have you on the first pitch, just because that's his book. And so, because they know if he gets deep in the count, then his cutter even gets better. He starts getting on top of it a little bit, put a little more depth on it. And he's a pitcher. He is a true artisan when he gets on the mound. I mean, he just picks them apart. And he's tough to hit, even if he starts the game. He's just tough to hit because everything looks the same leaving his hand. And I've always thought that that's what a pitcher should do. Everything should look the same when it leaves your hand. It just does something different when it gets to the plate, and that's hard to hit.
Scott,
so that's what I'm seeing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just Chuck and I were kicking around earlier in the first hour how impressed we were with Gabe Goeckle, who had his 5th save last night, but those have been at home and in neutral site, which Dallas wasn't really a neutral site. What do the freshmen from Cali show you to do in that environment, in that tight of a ball game late?
This is going to sound strange, but I always loved to play on the road, to pitch on the road, because if you're throwing well, the crowd's quiet. I mean, you're almost pitching in dead quiet, and then that's when you hear your best hecklers because there's nobody saying anything. But Goeckle, you just kind of block it out. We've talked about it before. You get between the lines. Some people can, some people can't. You hear white noise in the background or anything else. You kind of want a little noise. And he goes on the road, and I mean, it's still 60 feet 6 inches to home plate, and you still have to do the same thing. I saw him after he got 2 outs, he got a little, was falling glove side a little bit to his pitches, and you saw him turn around and look at the mound, which all pitchers do because it's not their fault. It's always the mound's fault. And he was missing, and he wasn't missing close. He was missing bad. And then he kind of gathered himself and came back and just, it was fun to watch. Just threw it right by him.
And only took 14 pitches. Dave Van Horn said after the game that we'll either see him today or tomorrow. It's probably going to get moved. I'm going to guess that the games are going to get moved to tomorrow because of the rain that's going to go on in Auburn today. But we will have to wait and see on that. We're talking with Scott Tabor this morning, courtesy of our friends at Alumni Hall. Scott, we still haven't seen Hunter Dietz. Dave mentioned his name in the press conference last night. About 10 days out from his recovery. It sounds like they're starting to solidify guys' roles a little bit. I wonder, as a pitcher, what does that dynamic change when a guy comes off of injury and they're still trying to potentially feature him in different situations in conference play?
You know, it's not going to affect the starting lineup. You know, our starting three are going to be our starting three unless one of them gets injured, gets sick, something happens. It'll be nice to have a plug-and-play guy in there if Dietz is everything that it's advertised to be. And so far, we don't have any reason to think that he wouldn't be because everybody that they've got on the staff is performing as advertised, which is something you just rarely see. I think it'd be great. I know that all the other teams in the conference are going, oh, God, good. They've got another stud coming back. You know, when are they going to pitch him? But he's a guy that may come in, you know, situational for a while, come in and relieve, come in after McEntire or come in just in the eighth inning and then to get to Goeckle. So having another arm, another great arm, and we haven't seen him yet, so we don't really know, but supposedly a great arm. And if he's already talking about him, his bullpens must be looking really good, and his throwing against live hitters must be looking really good.
Scott, last thing before we let you go, you mentioned Texas earlier, doing it on the defensive side.
I didn't mention Texas. I did not mention Texas.
You may or may not have alluded to them, but that's kind of what this Arkansas team has taken shape thus far this season. They win with 1 home run last night. Yeah, they had 6 hits, but they weren't able to bring guys home. Are they going to be able to do that in postseason? Are they going to be able to have outings last night, and continuously win this way?
Yeah, yes and no. You know, if the pitching holds up like we think it will, the thing that you get into is another team scoring on a little Gort hit off the end of the bat where our pitcher walked the guy, and then there's a pass ball, and he's on second, and then a guy hits a flare over the second baseman and it scores him from second. And they hadn't gotten the ball out of the infield all day. And so that's the kind of thing that you want to battle, that you're always battling is that accidental win, you know, and we can win it, you know, and we had the opportunities last night. You just don't get hits when guys are in scoring position. You're eventually it's going to catch up to you. And this team's not going to go undefeated. Nobody will go undefeated. Mm-hmm. But we have as good a chance as anybody's ever had from what I'm looking at our staff.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.